Getting some breaking news from the Department of Justice this morning. For that, we'll go to Eamon Javers in D.C. Morning, Eamon.
Yeah, good morning, Carl. Attorney General William Barr holding a press conference right now over at the Department of Justice in which he's announcing the indictment now of 4 members of the Chinese People's Liberation Army for hacking in to the computer systems of Equifax, the credit rating agency. The Attorney General is saying here that these members of the Chinese military have been indicted here in this hack, which happened several years ago. It impacted, he says, about 145 million Americans in terms of their sensitive personal data. The Attorney General here making a point that Chinese intelligence can use that data for not only economic espionage in terms of getting the data behind how Equifax captures information itself on U.S. consumers and citizens, but also in terms of building a massive artificial intelligence database to analyze how Americans conduct themselves in the economy and use that for sensitive nation-state purposes. So a sophisticated hacking attack against Equifax by the Chinese government, and now a response from the U.S. government, Carl, in terms of the indictment of these 4 Chinese nationals. Back over to you.
So is it progress, Eamon, that the U.S. government was able to identify who this was and name them and go after them, or are we increasingly seeing that?
It is. This is something that was done under the Obama administration as well. The Obama administration did indict a number of Chinese nationals as well and identify them. And we've seen American cybersecurity companies able to actually sort of get into Chinese intelligence and spotlight the individual hackers who were sitting at the keyboard and actually get their social media posts and sort of reverse hack them and post images of them at birthday parties and things on the internet to show them that the Americans are aware of what they're doing. But this a rare step, not something we see every day. Barr saying here in this press conference that the United States typically doesn't indict members of foreign intelligence services for gathering intelligence. But in this case, he feels that this was illegitimate and it threatens the U.S. economy as well as sort of the geopolitical situation overall. And they felt they had to take this step. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of chance here that these individuals will actually be arrested and brought to the United States because the Chinese simply aren't going to extradite them to the United States.
Yeah. Eamon, it's David. You spent a lot of time covering Chinese cyber espionage. I mean, it's not just Equifax, right? It's Marriott, Anthem. We could go through a slew of names where the Chinese have been cited as the culprit. Not quite sure what exactly it is they're putting together, but they seem to be putting together an awfully detailed dossier on a lot of Americans.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, Attorney General Barr just brought up this idea of the OPM hack. That's the Office of Personnel Management, which has sensitive information on government employees, every government employee, including all of the confidential information that's gathered in terms of granting them a security clearance, right? So that is personal information about gambling, cheating on your spouse, drug use, all of that kind of stuff is gathered in those investigations. All of that data was hacked by the Chinese government. Barr saying in this press conference that about 80% of the cyber espionage prosecutions by the Department of Justice have involved the Chinese. So he's saying this is an intensive effort, sweeping effort by the Chinese government, and this is the U.S. government's attempt to do something about it, David.